Hello, my name is Paul. This is Path of Ascension. This is the first of a series of Q&A videos that I'm going to be posting. And the idea of this is I know a lot of us in our spiritual quest start thinking about things and coming up with questions. And this is just a forum to be able to talk about some of these important things. And I'm going to give you my take on them. And I would love to hear your comments. Just paste them below. And if this sort of thing resonates with you, please subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell so you can get a notice when a new video comes up. So today's question was, why is there so much poverty and suffering in the world? And first thing, I think what we're talking about here is two different questions, because poverty isn't necessarily suffering. There are people who live in the West in what would be considered at a poverty level who are perfectly happy, and even some people who choose to live without a whole lot of things. And so I don't want to equate the two. But if we're talking about the kind of poverty that is unwanted, we are also talking about the kind of poverty that's unnecessary. There is a statistic that I read that said countries that have political violence and organized crime, corruption, have twice as much poverty as countries that do not. So certainly politics is an element there, as is corruption. I think the biggest issue with poverty is most people's idea of wealth and abundance. And I think most people don't realize that there is actually a law of abundance. It's a quantum law. And to not recognize that law and how that works, the normal reaction would be, I've got to get as much money as I can, because if I don't get it, somebody else is going to get it. And it's like there's not enough, when in fact there's more than enough. The quantum law of abundance just is that if you are grateful for what you do have, you create a vibration that draws more things to you. This is not like just some wishful thinking. This is actually how that works. Now this isn't, there's also the element of greed and corruption and all this, but the bottom line is people don't understand. There's a reason why we have an imbalanced distribution of wealth, but there doesn't have to be. And that's the good part of this. This is really an unnecessary. Poverty is unnecessary. There's plenty of money, plenty of food, plenty of housing, plenty of everything in the world. And people are currently, right now, there's a huge rate of ascension. People are really awakening to who they really are. And you're probably one of them if you're watching a video like this. And there will be a tipping point to where these kind of things like poverty will be outdated, and we will actually, be in the majority and recognize that this is a problem that we can take care of and that we will take care of. Suffering is, in fact, if poverty is unnecessary, I think suffering is necessary. So let's talk about it. Physical suffering. So if you get a cut, if you didn't notice that you had a cut, you could physically bleed out. I mean, the truth is that most physical pain, the more severe, the more it is something that you need to attend to. And this is sort of a warning system for you. I mean, we would not be alive without that. If you're talking about emotional suffering, for example, you're suffering from something that somebody said, or somebody did something to you, or maybe you're suffering because you did something to somebody and you haven't forgiven yourself for that. The emotional triggers that come with that are also a warning system, and letting you know, hey, there's something I've got to attend to. And here again, the severity has to do with, the impact that it's had on you and how it's affecting your life going forward. Now that's suffering in reverse. Suffering in forward, such as anxiety, worried about things that haven't happened yet, very common. Those are a non-reality, and here again, unnecessary, because if you are living fully conscious and living in the current now mindset, those don't really exist. And so here again, if you're worried about a lot of things, that is something also that you probably need to attend to. What is causing this fear, especially if it's unwarranted fear, which normally it is. Now, there is anxiety and depression and these types of things that are based on a chemical imbalance. And here again, it's a warning sign for you to go get some medicated, whatever it needs to happen to get yourself adjusted, so to take care of that. But here, it's a type of suffering. The only suffering I can think of that really is a now type suffering, one that's not based on the past or stuff that you're hanging on to or anything in the future, would be something like grief, where you lost somebody and you're suffering that right now in the moment. And the timeline of that varies, obviously. And that's something that is usually in direct proportion to the value of the person or the thing that's lost. And so, suffering is a part of life, and I think we need to stop thinking of it as a negative thing, just as something that's sort of taking care of us and letting us know that we've got to work on something, or we've got something to attend to. So that's my take on those two topics. So thanks for listening. I am interested in your comments or your opinions. Any questions that you have, please post those below as well. If this kind of thing resonates with you, hit the subscribe button. I will be putting up one of these probably once every week, as well as some other videos that I'm going to pull over from my Instagram site. So once again, thank you. Have an awesome day, have an awesome tomorrow, and have a really awesome now.